Hey there, this is Colby R. Rice, and I am here back. Actually, I haven't been on the Rebel Ragdoll reel in probably about a year, which is a long time, but I've been really busy. If you guys been tuning into my blog, you'll know what I've been doing, just getting into some really cool, crazy stuff. But I did want to actually start doing my video reviews of science fiction and fantasy television, in addition to the other reviews that I'm working on right now for books. So this is going to be a review of the very first episode of season 4 for The Walking Dead. That episode was called 30 Days Without an Accident. And I was actually really amped to see this particular episode. I think The Walking Dead in general really picked up, especially towards season 3. The storyline was tighter. The character development was pretty on point. The action scenes were great. And I think that this particular episode was fantastic in terms of kicking the season off. Now, for those of you who are saying, oh, well, there wasn't enough action or not enough zombie killing, personally, as much as I love to watch people smash down some zombies, the gore can get a little bit overwhelming. I know this is survival horror and that's fine, but even in like really really well-known franchises like Resident Evil, which has been around for, oh my God, like over almost 2 decades, if not more, there's not just the monsters and the zombies, but there's also character development. Um, that's actually, I guess, not so much with the last video game, but that's a that's a whole nother point. Let's get back to Walking Dead. Um, but I like the fact that there's a nice balance between the zombie smashing and killing and beheading and all that craziness and the character development. The action scenes for this particular first episode, and I'm going to try to keep spoilers out of it, but if there's a spoiler coming, I will flash you a blinking sign. But the action scene for this one, I think, was particularly inventive. You have to see it in order for you to know what I'm talking about. But it's like at this point, the writers are going to have to get inventive and stay inventive because really there are only so many ways to kill a zombie gruesomely, in my opinion. But I think that we're all sort of ready for the situations to be ramped up. We've seen people thrown into rooms, closed rooms with zombies. We've seen people on the run from zombies. We've seen zombie invasions on the farm. There seems to be a burgeoning zombie invasion at the prison now. Sorry, I guess that was a spoiler, but hopefully you guys saw that coming. Um, and so just making the actual zombie fights and the situations themselves more creative, I think is something that's going to be a challenge for the writers that they will definitely rise to because the Walking Dead writers are pretty awesome, at least in my opinion, from season 3 and now season 4. I've been really impressed with how they put together story and character development. Seasons 1 and 2 sort of got off to a slow start. In my opinion, season 2 could have had a bit of a tighter storyline. I think personally, season 2 was about 4 episodes too long. Um, but I'm not, an agented writer getting paid to write on the hottest series pretty much on television. So obviously you take my opinion with a grain of salt. But in general, I really love The Walking Dead. I don't actually review TV shows that I don't like. So anything that you see me post a review on, it's going to be a positive one. There were some things in the first episode, though, aside from the zombie action scene, that perplexed me a little bit. Some in good ways, some in bad ways. Let me see, how can I do this without there being spoilers? There's a development with the virus, apparently, and I'm sort of interested in seeing how that is going to unfold in the future. There were certain things that I noticed in the first and second seasons in terms of the accuracy of the virology that I didn't really understand before. For example, like if everybody has been infected the entire time, how do you turn into a zombie by getting bitten and getting infected again? It's sort of like having the flu or something, and we all have the flu, and then somebody suddenly sneezes on me, and suddenly I'm like flu zombie. I don't really know. I mean, maybe they have an explanation. Obviously, we're sort of waiting for that. And maybe it's not a hole. Maybe it's just something that they're building up to. But that's something that I never really understood from. I think it was the second season or the first season on when they were when they were at the CDC. Another thing about so that's that one thing. The virus is evolving or something. Um, the other thing I'm really amped about, I amped to know is I really want them to come face to face with the governor again. I freaking hate that guy, and I'm obviously the actor for that role is phenomenal because he really succeeded in making us just despise him and also sort of fear him. He's like just ruthless and disgusting, and I want him to get his just desserts. I thought for sure they were gonna do like a major showdown, like one on one, either Rick and the governor or Michonne and the governor or even Daryl and the governor. Although, Daryl's not, he's a lead character, but he doesn't have as much beef with the governor. But the governor did kill his brother in cold blood. So, I was waiting for that, but apparently they're saving the governor for something bigger. And I haven't read any of the graphic novels, so and I'm trying to sort of stay away from that right now. Not because I don't want to, but because I have so many other things on my plate to read. But that's actually another point that I would like to make. Side note, I see a lot of people sort of complaining about how the series itself deviates from the graphic novels themselves, and I can understand. Well, they deviate to a certain degree. In some ways, I think that's a very good thing because, as far as I know, in the graphic novels, quite a few people get raped very violently and very grotesquely. Not saying that rape isn't grotesque and violent in and of itself, but some things happen to a few of the characters, Michonne amongst some others, that I would have preferred to not have seen on television, honestly. And I think that the writers did a fantastic job of building up that hatred between Michonne and the governor without having to go into all of that. So kudos to you guys, writers. Thank you for avoiding the women in refrigerators situation. If you guys don't know what Women in Refrigerators is, check out Gail Simone and do just a Google search on Gail Simone, GailSimone, Women in Refrigerators, in terms of how women are portrayed and used in comics to burgeon or support the male agenda. Separate side note, but something that's important. I think the graphic novel, even though it's apparently very excellent and very popular, I think the graphic novel in and of itself is meant to be its own separate medium that should be enjoyed by the audiences who want to enjoy it. For people like me who are probably never going to read the graphic novel, I appreciate having different experiences, like watching the television series and having a different experience with that than I would have reading the graphic novel. And even if the storylines are different, that's okay because I feel as though my time and my money are well spent by having those two separate experiences within the same genre and within the same actual property. So to me, I'm not getting down on the Walking Dead TV series for not following the graphic novel as closely as others would like them to. So I'm okay with that. Okay, so sorry. Back to the episode. I get sidetracked a lot. We talked about the virus. We talked about the zombie action scenes. Rick has an interesting little side trip that I still don't even really know what happened there. I don't even. So that he met this chick. Spoilers. So turn it off now if you haven't seen it. He met this chick in the woods who obviously was a little unhinged, a little cray-cray. I already knew that she was going to do something to betray him because that's apparently just a theme in this series. And like she just seemed like she just wasn't really like all there. She had clearly been through a lot of shit, seen a lot of shit. And like she needs help from Rick and he goes with her, listening to her psycho babble. And then they come on her camp and he's like, okay. Because she had claimed that she had a husband. Like, without him, she wouldn't have survived and blah, blah, blah. And along that journey, she was asking all these questions. Like, do you think you could ever come back from the terrible, terrible things you did? Automatically, you're just like, okay, you're obviously trying to ask me, or ask if I were Rick, you're trying to ask me, Rick, about whether or not you can come back from what you're about to do to me. To me, that was very clear. Like, she was sort of insinuating she's going to do some crazy shit to him, and hopefully she could come back or spare her humanity or whatever. In any case, we come back to her clearing, and her husband apparently is no longer with us, and I guess he's a zombie or some form of zombie or something. I don't know, because we never actually get to see the body. Like, she covered him with like some kind of tarp or something, and I guess she was gonna feed Rick to him like alive. Obviously she failed, and she ended up killing herself because she wanted to be with her husband. And I'm not really sure like why he took that side trip. It really didn't add much to the story. But maybe we're supposed to reconnect with exactly why he's having inner turmoil with all the things he's done. I don't know. Personally, it's sort of like been going on for about 3 seasons now, and I guess you never really get over the fact that, there's a fucking zombie apocalypse. It does things to people. But I just sort of, I think I'm with everybody else when they say we sort of want Rick to have a different problem now. Like, that's sort of what I want to see. Anyway, but he handled it like Rick does, and he survived, and that was great. Carl strikes me as far, far less annoying than he's been for the past, like, 3 seasons. Actually, in season 3, he was pretty okay. Seasons 1 and 2, I could not stand Carl, could not stand Lori. I'm sorry, I feel bad. Like, I felt bad when Lori died, but I was just like, whew, finally, we don't have to deal with her foolishness anymore. Her freaking holier than thou attitude. The actress was amazing. Please know I'm talking about the character, not the actress, but she breathed some very good life into Lori. And Carl was forced to grow up and be less of a brat, which I think was the best thing that ever happened to him. Obviously, what he had to do to put Lori down was terrible and heart-wrenching, but it had one positive effect, which is that it made him far less annoying than he was before. So he's more helpful, he's more useful, he's more mature, he's still trying to prove himself a little bit. I think that's hormones starting to kick in, but it's whatever. The baby is adorable, his little sister. I like her little hat. I think at this point, with all the characters that are there, sorry, I don't mean to be rubbing my nose, I have a cold. With all the characters that are there, I'm pretty happy about everybody who's still around. I hope that some of the new characters get to stick around. Like Sasha, that's my girl. I love Sasha. She is so cool. She's just like a G. Like, you knew she was going to survive the zombie apocalypse, even though she didn't know it. So I hope that she doesn't die, at least not too quickly in this series. But she's a leader. She's actually far more relatable to me as a character than, for example, Michonne is. Although Michonne is a badass, she is so badass. She's awesome, but she has like this kind of brooding, mysterious, kind of like, I'm going to be distant, I'm going to be a part of it, I'm going to be like the anti-hero, but not. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think she's awesome. But to me, it gets a little bit mundane, a little bit repetitive, and I'm glad that Sasha is there to offset the strong female energy. Maggie's also a G. I mean, I've always been impressed with Maggie, but she really like won me over in the very last episode of season 3 when she was using that assault rifle. I was like, oh shit. I was like, go Maggie, do your thing. So she's a survivor. So I like the fact that there are a lot of really strong female characters in The Walking Dead, especially in this first episode. Bob the alcoholic really pissed me off. I mean, really, Bob? He was the reason why there was a zombie attack, actually. You have to see it in order to know what I'm talking about. But I was like, okay, Bob, why are you even here? Like, I'm not saying you can't be an alcoholic, but this is the zombie apocalypse. Like, there are bigger problems going on. So let's just focus. In any case, I think I'm rambling. But in short, I would say I really enjoyed the first episode. The second episode is obviously going to be crazy because of the last 10 seconds. Watch the episode and you'll see why. But there's some crazy stuff going on. And I guess some people are going to die. which is gonna suck. I just hope it's not the people that I like. I hope it's like random people. In any case, hopefully the next review will be far more astute and less gut reaction. But I really enjoyed episode 1, and I hope you do too.